Okay, so this is just another example set that I wanted to cover with you guys on how to write expressions. We've done some of these things before, but I want to show you a few things that are different. So S seems pretty normal. 5 times a number increased by 8. We know how to do that. That's 5x plus 8. But the second one says 5 times the sum of a number and 8. So what I want to point out to you is when we have two keywords back to back like this, times obviously meaning multiply, and sum meaning to add, when we have those two words back to back of each other, that means that we're going to be needing parentheses. So 5 times the sum is going to put a parentheses here. So this one will look like 5 times, and then parentheses, the sum, x plus a number and 8, okay? 5 more than, remember more than is going to push me to the end. So I have 8 times the number plus 5. 5 times the sum, so I see this again here. Times and sum are back to back, which means I'm going to introduce parentheses. So I've got 8 parentheses. The sum of a number and 5, which is x plus 5. Twice the sum, so here this is happening again. Twice means to multiply by 2 and then sum. So twice the sum of a number 5 times a number and 8. Okay? T says 2 more than, so remember than is going to push me to the end. 5/8 of a number, remember that of means to multiply. So 5/8 times x, and then 2 more than that is going to be plus 2. And our last example, 8 times the sum. So one more example of those two keywords running back to back. That's going to give me 8 and then parentheses. Twice a number, so 2x and 5. So your first assignment is to finish out the very last square on this page before you proceed. Okay, so now we're going to put together what we had mentioned the other day and kind of what we practiced here and how to write some perimeter problems or some geometry problems. So we said the other day that perimeter often involves adding things together, and we're going to total that to the perimeter. That's kind of a common structure. So let's look at what that looks like in some actual example problems. So question number 1 says the length of a rectangle, this is on the back of the worksheet that you have, the length of a rectangle is 3 times the width. The perimeter is 96. Find the width and the length. So we're not actually going to find the length and the width. We're going to practice writing and defining the variable. All right, these directions you are seeing, and the example I'm going to do is how you're going to do this sheet. Okay, so question 1. The length of a rectangle is 3 times the width, the perimeter. Okay, so we first need to use our structure. I know I'm finding the perimeter of a rectangle, so I need to have 4 blanks here. And this is going to equal 96. Then they tell me the length of the rectangle is 3 times the width. So what I don't know much of anything about, that's where I start, is I don't really know anything about this width, which means that is going to be my variable. So x is going to equal the width. And you can use w if you want to. It honestly just kind of goes, it's just your preference. So x is the width, which means I have 2 sides that are just going to be called x. Then it says the length of the rectangle is 3 times that. So these 2 length sides are going to be 3x and 3x. And this is how you're going to structure these questions. I have skipped question 2, so you will need to do question 2. All right, now we're going to do question 3 together. Question 3 says the width of a rectangle is 12 less than the length. The perimeter is 156. So I've got a rectangle, and I'm doing its perimeter, so I'm going to have 4 blanks equal to the total. This time I know about the width. They tell me about the width. What I don't know anything about is the length. So that means x represents the length. Notice how this is important because of what a question might ask us when they do actually ask us to solve. So I don't know anything about the length, so I can call those both x. This time I know the width is 12 less than. Remember, this than is going to move the 12 to the end. So 12 less than is going to make it x minus 12. In this context, if you write that backwards, you will get the answer wrong because it won't give you the correct value for the two different lengths or widths, the two different dimensions. All right, and then our last example, question 5. So again, you will do question 4. Question 5 says the perimeter of a triangle. So this time I only have 3 sides, and I know the perimeter total is 76. It says side A, and it tells me about side A. So I'm going to kind of label down here, side A is twice as long as side B. Okay, so I know side B. And side C is 1 centimeter longer than side A. So what I actually don't know anything about, I know the least amount about B, which means side B is going to be my variable. So X is going to stand for the length of side B. And so in my equation, I can put an X in just the B spot. Now I'm going to go back and read this again. It says side A of the triangle is twice as long as side B. Okay, so now twice as long is going to be 2x. And then if I read this last part, it says side C is 1 centimeter longer than, remember than's going to push me to the end, side A. So C is 1 centimeter longer than side A, which is going to be 2x, I did it again, 2x plus 1. That's 1 centimeter longer than this side A that was over here. All right, so what I'm going to have you all do is practice finishing the rest of this worksheet following those same instructions. You are to set up structure, use structure to write an equation, and then define your variable, just like we have done with these 3 examples. And that is your homework for this weekend.